Hello everyone, back to you in today's video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next 10 days to a couple of weeks. There's some interesting signals beginning to emerge within the models for pressure to start to build over Scandinavia in the next 10 days or so. But the Atlantic also is looking quite strong, so we're probably heading towards a bit of a battle really around the middle of November between high pressure over Scandinavia and low pressure in the Atlantic. Now, models always struggle with this sort of pattern, so model reliability is probably going to go out of window towards the middle of the month. And which way it goes, whether it goes towards the block over towards the northeast or whether it goes towards the Atlantic, it's very uncertain, probably can't be called at the moment. So before I get on with the video, I just want to talk about the advertising. There'll usually be a video ad overlaying my weather videos at gasweathervids.com. Please play those videos. You'll be supporting gasweathervids.com by doing that. So this is the first chart we're starting off with. It's this morning's GFS midnight chart from Saturday the 10th of November. So this is for the coming Saturday. Now you see we've got this area of high pressure building here across Scandinavia down in towards the east of Europe. We've got this low pressure out to the northwest of the British Isles. This trough actually becoming elongated across the British Isles down into France as it's being blocked by this area of high pressure to the east. As we run through in towards the next day, which is Sunday the 11th of November, again we've got the trough here becoming elongated across the British Isles, so the trough is really being pulled apart. A bit of pressure taking place to the northwest of the country, and again we've got that high pressure sitting to the east, and that's the reason that this low pressure, this trough over the country, is being stalled over the British Isles because it isn't able to push eastwards in towards Europe as it would normally like to do so because this high pressure is sitting here towards the east. Now, as we go through towards Monday the 12th of November, so this is a week out, we're actually starting to ridge the high pressure in across the country then, with this low pressure becoming a deep feature to the west of Iceland. We begin to ridge a high pressure in from the Atlantic and in from the east of Europe. So we're building a ridge over the top of the country. It's still quite cloudy and unsettled for the British Isles. If we go towards 10 days out, which is Thursday the 15th of November, again the sort of battle is still going on really with the low pressure, the trough here in the Atlantic, the high pressure becoming an increasingly dominant and major feature here to the east and northeast of Europe. It's quite mild. We're bringing up this southerly wind between the low pressure and the high pressure, so temperatures aren't anything to worry about. But this is it's important to see how this goes really, because the pattern for the second half of the month could get a lot colder if this area of high pressure was to take over across Scandinavia and pull the winds around to the east. But of course we may just keep in this situation where you have the trough to the west, the high pressure to the east, we bring up this southerly wind, in which case it'll continue to be quite mild. Now if you have a look at the ECMWF here, which is again for Saturday the 10th of November, so it's coming Saturday, again we see we've got this build of pressure taking place up over Scandinavia. This is more centrally based over Scandinavia actually than the GFS model. We're under this trough of low pressure again, and that's being stalled by this high pressure building across Scandinavia. As we go through towards Sunday the 11th, actually it looks like the high pressure is really going to start taking over the pattern here. It's beginning to become much larger as it pulls back in towards west of Russia, and it's starting to get those winds backing round to the east across many parts of the continent. The trough of low pressure here is actually still sitting over the top of the British Isles, so we could be in for a very unsettled weekend actually, with quite a few showers and longer spells of rain. But as we go beyond this, actually the ECMWF this morning wants to give the ascendancy to the Atlantic with this deep area of low pressure forming in the Atlantic, sweeping in, pushing this area of high pressure back in towards the east of Europe. So by the time we get through to 10 days away, which is Thursday the 15th of November, that low pressure is well and truly dominating the pattern, bringing in this strong westerly wind and forcing that area of high pressure back way towards the west of Russia. Now, whether this is how it actually works out, I really wouldn't like to say, because the models always struggle with this. They always struggle with a blocking pattern setting up over Scandinavia. Once you get into a blocking situation, then the models find it easier really to deal with it. But as the pattern is developing, that's really when the models struggle. And sometimes they'll give too much energy, too much ascendancy to the Atlantic. Actually, the Atlantic isn't as strong as models think it's going to be. It doesn't, or it isn't able to force that high pressure back in towards the west of Russia, and this low pressure can often stall somewhere around southern Greenland in the end. But what's driving this blocking pattern over Scandinavia that we begin to see emerging is probably this very early deep snow cover that's set up across much of Scandinavia. This is the latest snow cover chart for Eurasia. This is showing the whole of Europe and back in towards Siberia as well. And we can see that across Scandinavia we've had some very good early snow cover developing, and this is probably the reason that we're trying to see that high pressure now beginning to develop over the top of this snow cover. When you've got snow cover, you've got a lot of cold air trapped or sitting just above that snow cover, and very often that can translate into an area of high pressure eventually that tries to form, particularly over Scandinavia. So that's probably the reason why the high pressure is attempting to form over Scandinavia. Where it actually forms and becomes a driving feature of the weather as we go in towards the middle and second half of the month, I can't call it yet. But it's certainly very interesting trends, this, but we're beginning to see this starting to emerge. It's something that happened, we saw something similar to this occurring in November 2009 actually. We had some very decent autumn snow cover across Scandinavia. Then through November 2009 we kept trying to get high pressure building over Scandinavia. Actually low pressure in the Atlantic drove that month, so it's very wet and mild the month, but the actual pattern over Scandinavia was quite interesting because that high pressure did keep attempting to build. And as we got into December, of course, of 2009, eventually that high pressure took over the pattern, and that started us off with that very cold winter of 2009-2010. So very interesting signals emerging this morning. Have to see how things develop through the course of November. I'll be keeping an eye on it for you, so keep checking back. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.